You're listening to the Bible Belt Bros podcast with my dad and his dumb friend. Enjoy!
Welcome to the Bible Belt Bros podcast. Thanks for tuning in. Still, after however many episodes this is.
You guys are a glutton for punishment.
Yeah.
You keep coming back.
I keep forgetting to give Ricardo props on the intro and outro music. So check out, if you like it, check out Jen Falls. You have to find them. Maybe Facebook, maybe some Instagram.
Soundtrack. Or whatever that thing's called.
SoundCloud.
Whatever that's called.
Yeah. And so, Jen Falls, they're on tour right now. So I miss him dearly. Can't wait till he comes back.
Oh, you miss your little friend.
I do. They're on tour. It's like an underground tour. He's all about the crazy do-it-yourself venue opportunities. So, anyways, today's going to be a fun show. We have our sound man from our church, Mr. Ric Hampton.
Howdy.
Thank you for being here.
Sure.
We're actually at Ric's little podcast setup because it's way more professional than ours.
It is. I just got a question. Are we actually going to stick to that time?
I don't know. Ric's got a little countdown clock because he's used to telling pastors when to wrap it up. So
when to shut up.
he's giving us a little countdown clock. So we got 23 minutes.
It's more
and
of a
5
suggestion.
Gotcha.
A guideline.
Yeah, because we know at our church that countdown clock means nothing.
Nothing.
Unless you have a guest speaker, then it's like, man, we have 20, 30 minutes between services. What are we doing? So anyways, well, welcome, Ric. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and your whole sound man
I've
stuff.
done sound, audio, and kind of in the entertainment business my whole life. I started out doing sound for churches about when I was, I think, 13, 14, at a church in Manford, actually, called Lakeside Baptist Church there.
Name drop.
Yeah, that's right. So I did sound there for a while, and then just kind of moved on from there and worked in radio for almost 20 years, on the air and off the air. So kind of just, it's in my blood. I've always done it.
Cool. I used to want to be in radio, but I say a lot of stupid stuff.
Yeah, see, but I have a face for radio, so it's perfect.
It's great. We were on the Life Unfiltered podcast a couple weeks ago, and I was trying to talk about Andrew and his deployment, and I said Afghanistan.
Well, you know what? It kind of is. So it still applies.
It was pretty bad. Like, that was like the very beginning of the podcast. I was like, great.
To say, if you ask Andrew, he probably would agree that,
Yeah.
You probably got called that more than once.
Oh, it did.
Oh, man. Okay, so one thing I need to apologize for, Ric, is I led worship at our church on Sunday, and I was chewing gum. Andrew, you don't know this. I was chewing gum during rehearsal, and I was like, all right, guys. Yeah, so the next, and Ric's like, Dusty.
Hey, can I get a... Right here, this is how it went. Hey, can I get a little more bass in my I'm like, really? So here's the worst part is that it's like I feel like mother hen sometimes in the mornings, moving them along and rehearsing, but I actually
it's so early.
I actually grabbed a tissue and walking to the stage for him to put it in the tissue, and I was going to throw it away, and he's like, no, I got it. I'll put it in this paper here. I'm fine.
Oh, yeah. I didn't realize you were grabbing a tissue. That's great. I don't think anybody caught this except for my wife. I mess up a lot on Sunday morning.
Yes,
in this
you
podcast, we're just going to talk about all the stuff we mess up.
Pulling the
Dusty
curtain
messes
back.
up.
We're pulling the curtain back a little bit. So I don't know if you caught this first service. I'm doing a new song, and I'm terrible at practicing and stuff. And so I got onto myself last night because my house church does a study, and I rely more on my physical talent than the Holy Spirit to lead me. And so,
oh boy,
let's get real deep right now. And so I really need to do a better job about praying and asking, like, not just playing songs, you know. So anyways, the first service, we get to the bridge of the song. And do you remember what song it was? I can't. It's
Your Amazing Love, or Your Love Amazes Me.
Well, there's something about, like, on the bridge is like, we're supposed to say, I'm alive because you're alive.
Okay, yeah.
And I
so
said
alive.
it.
Okay.
I said it. You're alive because I'm alive, which is completely sacrilegious. That's completely not the point. Like, Jesus is not alive because I'm alive.
You're alive because Dusty is alive.
And I
so keep that in mind.
As I sang that, like, in my mind, I'm processing that was not right.
That was not right.
As I'm continuing to try to sing like the song, I'm like, oh gosh, why do I do this sometimes? I don't get it.
Yeah, you know what? My favorite, of course, for you, if you're really wanting to count warts at this point.
Yeah, let's do it.
My favorite was the rolling of the R. I still don't know why you did it, but it was the funny. He's singing along, and
this is Amazing Grace.
Yes,
right?
Yes. And he's singing along to "This Is Amazing Grace," and I mean everything's going great, and then all of a sudden, you know, there's like this. I don't know, Latin. I mean, there's this roll.
This is Amazing Grace.
Yeah, yes, it was like, this is Amazing Grace. I'm like, what? Because even your wife Shay would she turned to me and goes, "Did he just roll his R?" I'm like, "Yeah, he did." I don't know
Hispanic.
why.
I don't know.
All of a sudden, it was
Like I should have had some marachas with me. Like,
right. Oh my
He's getting into his prayer language there.
Right.
Yeah.
He quickly snapped out of it, though.
Beginning to roll his
There was
R.
no interpreter present. Okay, so I had to go back to the normal.
Yeah, speaking in tongues, he was. Wow. Okay.
There's a couple
All right.
times where I was praying and I kind of lost train of thought, so I said thanks, bye. You know, instead of amen. Or,
Thanks. Bye.
yeah, thanks, bye.
Well, you know, I mean, we're told, taught to pray to God like, you know, we would pray any other way. And so, you know, I mean, I guess if you had the phone line to heaven, you know, you're, you know.
All right. Thanks. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Thanks, bye. Talk to you later.
Yeah.
Next time I need something, God, I'll call you.
Yeah. BRB, God.
Deuces.
Well, Rick, do you have any other funny stories that aren't about me?
Yeah, you know, I've been around a lot of different types of services and meetings and camp meetings and all kinds of things that I've ran sound for. But I think one of my favorites, there are two, and they're both, unfortunately, funerals. That's the other thing.
You're always the funniest.
I've done sound for a funeral. They're so stressful.
They are stressful because everybody wants everything just right. It has to be, you know, right in the beginning. And so I, one time, was doing a funeral, and they did the open casket portion at the end. I was up in a balcony because we had like a balcony sound booth at the time at the church I was at. So this woman comes up, and she, of course, is doing the normal, "Oh, doesn't she look peaceful? You know, oh, doesn't she look so real? You know, well, she is real, but, you know, doesn't she look lifelike?" You know, on and on. Well, the person next to her, we all knew it, and I'm going to say it, she was a little off in the fact that she was, first of all, humor-wise, she was off. She loved inappropriate. She loved to be, you know. Anyway, so she says, "Oh, my God, she just move?" I mean, like really loud. I mean, like really loud. I could hear it in the booth up in the balcony. "Did she just move?" And so, of course, you know, everybody is freaking out. That was a weird one because, like, there were a couple of kids. It was their first funeral to be a part of. You know, that, you know, mom and dad had never let them go to a funeral, and then all of a sudden they're in there for that one. So that was the first one. The second one was, we were in the middle of the funeral. The pastor was talking about this guy's life and then kind of giving a short message. And right in the middle of that, you hear a aluminum can open. And it was this guy's nephew. He loved Budweiser. So he had slipped in a beer can in his jacket pocket. And as he talked about how that this guy, you know, he's building him up, and he's talking about how what a upstanding Christian man he was, and he loved this and that and things like that. He said, and he enjoyed his, you know, he enjoyed life and celebrated life every day. And
Come on, guys, you got to put that in a water bottle or something.
right? I mean, that was another one that was one of those that because Foxworthy tells a bit like that too. You know, man, doesn't she look pretty? You know, and it was the truth. Those two were some of the funniest ones. There are other ones that are not so funny that, you know, things happen in the middle of, a service that nobody knows about because you've got, you know, 2 or 3 guys running around back in the back trying to fix something before it goes out. We've had set pieces and things like that, stuff fall off set pieces as we're about to roll them out on stage, you know, for a game or whatever. And, you know, we're back there with a nail gun or duct tape or anything that would work to do it. So I've crawled out on stage before, like army crawl out on stage, you know, behind somebody. We've had I've actually swapped out a snare drum in the middle of like worship. The snare, I got a hole in it, and so the guy told me, and so I've army crawled behind a drummer on stage and slipped up like a snake behind him with a snare drum in my hand. And we've just pulled one out and put the other one in during a break in the song. So, yeah, there's a lot of things like that most people don't see. But
If you do your job right.
Right. Or you just deny. No, I don't know what you're talking about.
I never
It was
did
the
that.
Holy Spirit.
Right. Yes.
While you were talking, there was somebody that just went and got some Pokeballs at the Pokestop over there at the church. Yeah.
Is that still a thing?
Oh, I still play. I haven't played in a while, but they just released I'm sounding like a nerd now. They just released a bunch of next generation Pokemon.
Oh, okay.
So there's all these new ones out there.
Well, I know sitting in the lobby for a while there when it was hugely popular. I mean, when it first came out, it was really funny to watch because the traffic increased a lot in front of the building. People would, you know, rush up, and so they would rush up, put it in gear, and then go.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what are they doing? So it took me a minute to catch on.
Well, now people realize they can just drive real slow. You don't have to. Like
Nice.
I drive around the block. I got like 4 Pokestops. But anyway, they just released a bunch of new ones, so it's got me back interested in it again. But yeah, it's fun. It's not on Facebook as much anymore because it's now gone into these private groups, like Facebook groups of posting. So people aren't as annoyed by it.
Thank goodness.
One of the other ones I thought of too.
Don't knock it till you try it, Andrew.
I tried it so I can knock
Yeah,
it.
you're just mad because you couldn't get to Pikachu.
That did make me mad. Twice.
One of the other ones that I thought was funny that I just thought of, though, to bring us back to things that have happened is the one thing that I can't stand is misspellings on screens.
Oh,
I mean,
yes.
I'm not a total grammar Nazi or a spelling Nazi, but, you know, I hate whenever you miss it. And then when you see it is whenever everybody else gets to see it. So, you know, you display lyrics on a screen, which is common now in, you know, ton of churches. And yeah, that's pretty crazy because that's kind of the way it goes is, you know, you look up and go, oh man, you know, because it's not even a grammar thing. It would be, you know, a total misspelling of something. So,
Well, I would do some, the computer stuff at Life Church for their youth stuff, name drop. So I would do that, and then there would be a misspelling, but like they were like, we have to change it before we get back to the you know, so you're like trying to edit the file and
hey, and to give her props, I will say this, to give her props, Shay is a pro at that. She's really good at if there's a misspelling or whatever. Oh, yeah, definitely. You sure did, because she's one of the best at that. If there's a misspelling, you can bet it'll be changed before. Yeah, there's none of this, hey, we'll change it at the break, or no, she's really fast about changing it on the fly.
Now, I don't know this. I didn't grow up here. Is that a difference between Jinx education and St. Springs education?
Could be.
I don't know. But I can tell you, she's good at it. She's fast.
One of the funny things that we used to do was when we're playing worship and stuff on stage. There for a while we used to have when Johnny would play electric, he would have a mic. And before we had tracks to like cue us to the next thing, he would be like chorus, and then we'd know going into the chorus. And so Johnny, sometimes we'd do a stop or something, you know, that we've been practicing, and we'd do a stop, and in the middle of the worship center, you'd hear, "Oh, guys, that sounded good," or something like that. So you're trying not to like, oh yeah, that was sexy, just like, oh, and trying not to laugh. And you got people talking to you in your ears. It's so hard to focus on Jesus when you're leading worship nowadays.
And that has happened too, because you can talk back. That's one of the nice things about having in-ears now on stage is that you can talk back, and so you can give direction if need be. And I remember there was at least one country music act that came through town, and I was just working for the radio station then, so I was attending it, but I knew about what was going on. And I believe it was Mark Chestnut, country star Mark Chestnut.
Name drop.
And he was on stage, and his crew had organized various sound effects and things like that. So he's in the middle of his show, and they would inject in like a siren really quiet, or they would put in a car crash, or horns honking and things like that. And to watch his face on stage, I mean, he was a pro because he kept singing in the lyrics, and he kept, going right on with the show. But it was the funniest thing because he would have the weirdest look on his face, just the most like a little dog, hearing something for the first time, and he'd turn his head sideways and like trying to listen and, hear it. And then they started talking to him. And so that's happened quite a bit as well.
When I used to do the words on the computer stuff, I would always, during rehearsal, because I would also do this in training to be like, listen, guys, you are the worship leader, not this guy on stage. This guy doesn't know what he's doing. And so I would play like the second chorus or second verse words instead of the first verse words, and they would, almost every time they would start singing in the second chorus, and like they would know it's wrong, but they're like, that's the words on the screen. I started
to say that, that falls back to like the old Ron Burgundy thing, from Ron Burgundy, where, he'll repeat anything on screen. There is at least one anchor in town, and I won't name drop, who is the same way. He's not on TV as much anymore, but I guarantee you, if you type it on the teleprompter, he'll say it. He'll say word for word and not even question it. He'll just go right on because he reads what's in front of him. So, well, I was just trying to think if there was any other stories from me. I don't know if any other. I mean, there's a lot. I mean, I could tell you. We could be here for days telling you stories about stuff. But
well, you set a timer, and we're already about to go over. So, because I got a clip I want us to watch. All right, this is Andrew. This was in Skytook, I believe, just about 25 minutes down the road, and. I don't know, it's one of those angry pastor videos, and he starts yelling at the sound man. So I thought we'd watch it.
Don't you lay your head back. I'm important. I'm somebody.
Already.
Now, you might do your English teacher that way, but I'm not teaching English. I'm teaching eternal life here. I love you. You know I love you. Have I convinced you I love you? Yeah. You better nod your head yes. All right. Come on, put it right there. All right. You stay awake and you listen to me. You say, well, he may never come back. Well, he ain't here now. And where have you been, Mr. Underwood? And I noticed on the calendar I'm supposed to marry y'all. What makes you think I'd marry you? You're one of the sorriest church members I have. You're not worth 15 cents.
Wow.
And you want me to marry you to her? And you want to marry him? And he don't even know where he belongs? And you don't even know where you belong? Now, let me tell y'all, everybody here, how much I love these kids. Do you know I love you, sir? Stand up, big boy.
I love you.
Do you know I love you? All right. All right. Give me a little love.
Whoa. Mother.
I'm the real deal. All right. I know you are too, but you ain't been here.
The arrogance.
I know.
You can't get this in any other church in town.
You're right about that.
There's a reason.
Now, y'all don't want me. All you got to do is tell me. We won't have a church fight because I'll get my little Connie and we'll get in her little Buick Enclave. It's paid for, and we'll sell what we need to sell. And we'll go on down the road and we'll find some little podunk church that don't know up from down. And I'll find me a dozen Joe's baskets who don't have a pot or a window and who will shout Jesus, and I'll give the rest of my life to them.
Do it.
But I'm not interested in recreating the prostitute of the church. Amen. You remember when I came here, Kelly? You remember where your wife was, where your sisters were? Do you remember where they were? And we made holy war. Do you remember that? Stay with me. Don't quit me. Brandy's a sweet girl, and she's got her children. Yes, y'all are good and y'all are fine, but your children will turn on you if you don't hold up the standard and the banner of God. And if they don't turn on you, you'll just produce nice little whirlians.
Is that a real word?
Whirlians, right.
It must have been on a teleprompter.
Are y'all keeping the camera on me back there in the little video room? Good.
Here they go.
We're having trouble in the video room. There's no one finer than young Cox back there. And he comes down here and spends hours in that thing. But he has a little attitude adjustment that we're going to fix. Brother Cox, you listening? Because, Brother Cox, I can fix your attitude adjustment. And I don't care what your mama thinks and your daddy thinks. And I don't have a better friend than your mama. But, Mama, you get out of my way when I'm messing with that boy, because I'm his preacher. I'm yours when I'm talking to you, but I'm his when I'm talking to him. And last I checked, he's a grown man. And that video room ain't going to be a youth hangout. We might as well just fix this thing.
Mm-hmm. Right now, they said.
And I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Well, if you don't know what you're doing wrong, son, you don't care about what I want to do right. Because if you loved me and you submitted to me, you'd know what my heart is and my message is, and you wouldn't go about establishing your own kingdom in the video room.
Oh, my God.
Wow.
Are you establishing your own kingdom?
No. I am not.
I think this is it.
I really feel good now.
Yeah. Wow. So that is,
Wow.
I mean, that's one of those things where I cannot imagine. I mean, if I was the video guy, if I was the camera guy, you know, I know if that happened here, even, I can imagine the camera tech would be looking at me like, do I stay on it or do I? I'm like, yeah, you do. You know.
Well, that's the moral of the story. Don't piss off the camera guy.
Oh, my
Apparently,
gosh.
you end up on YouTube.
Right. Yeah. Because I mean, yeah, I'm afraid that it would have been on YouTube pretty quick. I mean, if it would have been me, just because, and I've heard every explanation for that too. That he knew that he was being recorded, and it was all for the part of the message. And they all knew they were going to be a part of that. I'm like, I don't know. I just don't feel like that some were. But, boy, there were some that were, I'll tell about it.
Yeah.
That's right, tell
Preach
it.
Sister.
Yeah,
Preach.
tell it. Like,
Sister?
I know.
That sounds like a
Nice.
guy, doesn't it?
Yeah, that was, yeah.
Dang it.
Sister?
Sister.
I almost went a whole podcast without saying anything stupid. This is why I don't preach on Sundays. Or at least one of the reasons.
I was going to say, there's probably more than just that. But.
All right, so, Andrew, for you, have you ever been in a service or a worship encounter or anything that you've, even just sitting in the audience, you've been like, oh, that's not right?
Kind of just felt awkward, or what he's saying is completely wrong?
Well, either one, I guess. I mean, or technically anything, go wrong that you obviously knew.
It's another Pokestop guy over there. Just showing. Just saying.
Oh, my goodness, Dusty.
Yeah, I know. And we even faced him away from the window.
Right.
And he's still looking around. All right, focus.
I'm focused.
I was part of a church that I was the entire, actually, almost like that dude, actually. My dad was a youth pastor there, and
Name drop.
I didn't name him.
My dad.
But that's not his name.
Name dropping my dad.
My dad was the youth pastor there, and it just some of the stuff he would say would be like, no, Sorry, man.
That's not right.
Jesus didn't do that.
Wasn't there a preacher that's like, you can learn more out of this hymnal than you can out of this Bible?
Yeah, he was our
Wow.
he was our worship leader at Dusty's in my church.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. He was just a real Southern Baptist type of guy, Southern Gospel type of guy. And didn't he sing in Branson for a little bit? I think he sang in Branson, or he had a church in Branson. And anyways, long story short, he ended up with us. And then, yeah, from the pulpit, while we're leading worship, you can learn more from this hymnal than you can the Bible.
Wow.
It's like, really?
I had an edit one time with a former worship leader, and I told you about this one, I think, too. And it was we were recording them. The services at the time, we were just recording them audio for shut-ins and things to be able to listen to at home and stuff like that. And so we would go back and edit some of the things out that, like if there was a pause between songs or whatever, we would edit those things out and everything else. And we were in a really good moment during one of the services, and they'd been playing, and he'd been kind of giving his testimony. He was at the piano, and he was giving his testimony, and it was just this poignant moment. And the song we were supposed to go into was God Is So Good. And so he was playing the piano, and he was trying to get to the transition to go into the song, but it was just this moment. And so he's talking real soft, and the Lord is here, and just be in his presence. And I mean, just on. And he goes, and in this middle of this moment, keep in mind, we've got an entire room full of attendees that are attending this, and same deal. He's just like, just be in this moment for right now. Sing this song with me. And like just snorts this. I mean, and it is so loud. Yeah, it is the most loud thing ever. Now, when it came out on the podcast that we had put up, of course, it was gone. I was able to remove it because I could go back and edit. But in the live moment, oh yeah, it was awesome. just be with God right now. Sing this with me. And it was this God is so good. I'm like, oh my gosh.
I don't want to be in that moment with that guy.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't want. Yeah. No thanks.
I was praying at house church last night. I was praying for somebody, and then I just lost, like, what else can I say about this? Like, so I was like, all right. And the next prayer request, like, it just kind of stopped. Just kind of, I don't know how to flow
God
this.
a task list.
Yeah, I don't know how to flow this to the next prayer request, so we're just gonna stop it right here. All right, and then the next one.
That's all right. We were at dinner 2 nights ago with a couple that we go to dinner with a lot, and he prayed. He doesn't pray very often in public, and so but he prayed for the meal, and it was hilarious because she could tell. I mean, they're in tune enough that she could tell that he was not going to remember names of prayer requests and things, and so that's kind of how that went, because he would pray and he'd be like, and Lord, just be with, and then from the other next, you'd hear her, with her eyes closed, you could hear her going, with Julie, with Julie, and then with Julie, God, that things will go well for her, and pray that you'd be with Mike, and so well. That'd be good. A little vocal teleprompter to
I like that.
Get through your prayer, right? Yeah.
Well, right now we are in overtime. The clock has been at 0 for a while.
It was actually counting up, and then it's just like, I'm giving up. And reset itself.
It reset to 35 minutes.
Forget it.
Let's just start over and add some more time to
You're
it.
just going to count up to this. Let me just start counting down from 35.
Yeah. But this has been great. Rick, thanks for being on.
Sure.
We didn't get to the more risque behind the scenes stuff that happens.
You know what? And it does. I mean, there's times whenever things like that happen. I mean, and there, oh my gosh, did he just say? Whatever.
There's tons of practical jokes that happen, right as you're going on stage. Even I've walked on stage and my mic has been moved to over my forehead to make fun of how short I am.
Yeah, we did do that one time. Yeah,
just once.
We did. Yeah, I think it's only once.
In the middle of a word, it's like I get up there and I go to sing and I'm like, oh gosh, and I have to stop playing and move my mic. But there's a lot of fun behind the scenes stuff. So if you want to learn more about that stuff, I guess go serve in your local church. That's the only way
there
to
you go.
Just
that's the
be
only way to
behind the scenes.
experience
That's
it.
right. Be behind the scenes. That's the way to experience it for sure. Definitely. If you're interested, and you're listening to this podcast, just give me a shout. I'll help you.
Yeah. Rick, his number is. No,
Don't you?
I don't.
1-800.
All right. Well, thanks for being on. Thanks for tuning in, guys, for another podcast basically about nothing. And hopefully you have a good day and you can continue to tune in with us. We'll see you later.
Later.